So today I want to talk about one of my recent reads, which is a biography about Miss Elizabeth Taylor. So this is The Grit and Glamour of an Icon, Elizabeth Taylor, written by Kate Anderson Brower. And this was released back in December of 2022. And I am familiar with Brower's work. I did read The Residence last year, and I do like her writing style. So, Elizabeth Taylor, she is one of those stars from old Hollywood that the public has always remained fascinated with. I think she's one of the few celebrities whose fame never waned on people. She always was a topic of interest from the beginning of her career until her death, Whereas with some celebrities, it starts to wind down in their older years, And she was also smart, Elizabeth Taylor. She was smart about her celebrity, and she used it to her benefit and for her gain. And she was a smart businesswoman. I would say she used her celebrity in a way that other celebrities, especially female celebrities, I don't know if they were just too demure or timid or maybe not as business savvy, but they didn't operate the way Elizabeth Taylor did. And she was smart with her fame and using it for philanthropic efforts and to build her filmography. I think that can attest to her legacy and why she is someone who is still revered today, and she seems to attract younger generations long after her death, because she's just one of those icons who her story is just so rich. Hello, my name is Tamika, and whether you stumbled upon Junkie for a Story or are here by intention, thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, please give it a like and subscribe by the end of the video, and hit the bell for notifications so you won't miss new videos when they are released. And now, on to the video. I know the basics, like the general information that a film geek like myself would know about Elizabeth Taylor. But one thing I was surprised to learn from the very beginning is that Liz Taylor was a child actress. For some reason, I did not know that. And I feel like that's not even something historians mention, or maybe I missed it. I could be wrong, but I feel like the child actress doesn't get mentioned. So now it could be because she went on to have such a successful career as an adult actress that her adult career overshadowed the work she did as a child, and it was not necessarily not worth mentioning, but with some child stars, there is a stigma, and the transition into adult actor or actress can be difficult, but she did it successfully, and it looks like she never looked back. It was just, that's what I did in my childhood and move on, okay? But one of her notable films was, as a child, I should say, one of her notable films was National Velvet. And it seems like she took to this role instantly. It does say, so it says Elizabeth's favorite book was National Velvet. She had been riding horses since she was 3 years old, and she had an English accent. So it almost seemed like she was perfect for this role. Like she was this role even before it came to be, you know? But I was surprised to learn that she had a thriving career as a child star. She sounds like she was very professional about it. Her mother was overbearing and overprotective of her um, throughout those years when she was a child actress, and she did have a physically abusive father, and that situation probably motivated her to get married at a young age. She got engaged to Nick Hilton, he is the son of the founder of the Hilton Hotels chains. And from what they say, Nick Hilton, when he saw Elizabeth Taylor, he was like, I want her, and whatever Nick Hilton wants, he gets, right? So, yeah, someone set it up. And I think Liz Taylor, she put herself in a situation that she couldn't get out of because she was already in an abusive situation with her father, and she was just looking for an exit. And so she just ran into the arms of Nick Hilton without investigating his character. And it sounds like some people did try to warn her, or at least warn, yeah, I think they tried to warn her and her parents that, you know, he will kill you, okay? So, yeah, that was her first marriage. And she was 18 years old at the time. And that marriage ended in divorce because Hilton was physically abusive and was a raging alcoholic. Then there is her third marriage to politician Mike Todd. Todd was 47 years old and Liz at the time was 24 years old. They went on to have two children. She had another child from a previous marriage, and then they had two children together. And it sounds like Mike was the love of her life. Unfortunately, that marriage did end in death. Mike Todd was killed in a plane crash, and that obviously devastated Liz Taylor. But it sounds like that was a truly loving relationship and marriage for her. He just doted on her, and she went through a really deep depression after the death of Mike Todd. And during that time, she wasn't grieving alone. So, and you learn throughout the book, Liz is never alone for long, okay? I mean, obviously, she's a beautiful woman and a successful actress. You know, she checks all the boxes. So all the men are lusting after her, and she naturally wouldn't be a widow for long, okay? But I believe it said that she was widowed twice, but so she was around 26 or something when she married singer Eddie Fisher, who was previously married to actress Debbie Reynolds. Now, Eddie Fisher, he was a popular singer at that time. His celebrity wasn't on the level of Liz Taylor, but he was a close friend of Mike Todd. And I thought I had something wrong. I mean, there's so many husbands in this book. I get certain facts mixed up. Okay, so Mike Todd, they said, was a producer, not a politician. Just to clarify, because after I said it, I was like, I think I got that wrong. He's not the politician. Okay, so after the death of Mike Todd, both Elizabeth and Eddie Fisher were grieving because Eddie Fisher was one of Mike Todd's close friends. And through their grief, they developed a romantic relationship. Now, Fisher was still married to Debbie Reynolds, and they had 2 small children at this time. So when the affair became public, obviously the public was outraged and supporting Debbie Reynolds because she is the young wife with 2 young kids, and Eddie just abandoned her for Liz Taylor and did it in such a reckless way. So at this point, people were, they were turning against Liz. Okay. Liz, she was revered for her talent as an actress at this point. But then when the affair took place, it's like, we can't be down with that, People were, it wasn't a good look for Taylor, and the public, they did express their disapproval of the affair, okay? But nonetheless, Liz Taylor is one of those strong-willed people, and when she wants something, she goes after it. She doesn't care how it looks to other people. And she doesn't care, in my opinion, she doesn't care how it affects other people. So they got married, but obviously that marriage was doomed from the start because she was still grieving her 3rd husband when she married Fisher. And then she met Welsh actor Richard Burton. Now, up until this point, Liz Taylor was growing frustrated with Eddie Fisher because he was becoming almost a dictator about her career. He was very bossy, and I get the feeling he was hanging on to her because of her clout and her success and her wealth from her acting. So it just seemed like he was really steering her career so that he always had money, because he did have a gambling problem. So he wasn't a good character, basically. But at this time, when all of this was going on with the affair, then the marriage, Liz was nominated for an Oscar. And let me see if I wrote it down. In 1959, she was nominated for an Academy Award for her portrayal of Maggie, the cat in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. At this point, this was her 2nd nomination, but because of the affair with Eddie Fisher, she knew she wasn't, she would not be getting that award, okay? So she said about it, let's see, it said, she suspected that she would not win because she had been a bad girl. And she was correct. She lost to Susan Hayward for I Want to Live. So she was flaunting her infidelity explicitly without any shame whatsoever. And also her being a woman, it seemed like the critics were more harsh in judging her infidelity, because there were other people. I mean, there were a ton of men just leaving their wives and children doing the same thing, and they seem to get away with it. But Liz Taylor, what she was doing, because she's a woman, it seemed unforgivable. Back to Richard Burton. This is the second love of her life, okay? And she met him while filming Cleopatra. Now, Cleopatra is one of those, it's one of those movies. I haven't seen the movie, but it's such a legendary movie because I think of the scandal and how expensive the movie was, and there's just a lot of talk about this movie. So first, Elizabeth, she did negotiate to be paid an audacious $1 million for her role in Cleopatra. And at the time, nobody was being paid that kind of money. So no woman, no man was being paid $1 million at that time. She asked for it, and she's one of those people who, she knows her worth, and she will not allow anyone to convince her otherwise. You know, she will not allow anyone to devalue her. And that's one thing I do love about her confidence. And the fact that she did that in such a male-dominated industry at the time that she did do it. Bravo to her, okay? But so she meets actor Richard Burton, and he is a revered Shakespearean and Broadway actor. So he was not impressed with her acting when they first met. But over time, he gave her props and realized, okay, she knows what she's doing. But during the filming, their professional relationship turned into a romantic one. And even now I should point out, both of them were married at the time, but Liz was ready to get out of the marriage with Eddie Fisher. However, Richard Burton was married to Sybil, who was also a Welsh actress, and they had children. But it sounds like they had some type of arrangement because he was known for cheating on his wife. Although, can you really call it cheating if she knows about it? I mean, he seemed to be quite overt with his extramarital affairs. So I don't know if, I wouldn't call it cheating if the other person knows about it. But he was known to do that, right? However, Liz was a different situation because of her celebrity. The relationship became public, and, you know, the newspapers, the magazines, the media made a big deal about this, and they sensationalized their affair. And obviously it upset their respective spouses, you know, Eddie Fisher and Sybil. And then on set, it even became a little, their romance sort of took front seat to the acting. So Joseph Mankiewicz, who was the director of Cleopatra, he said about them, okay, I'm quoting from the book. It says, he was not interested. Okay, this is Richard speaking about the relationship. He was not interested in hiding anymore because, he told Mankiewicz, he was falling more and more in love with Elizabeth every day. During one love scene between Cleopatra and Mark Antony, when Mankiewicz yelled, "Cut," Elizabeth and Richard stayed in each other's arms. He repeated, "Cut," and still nothing. Finally, he told them, "I feel as if I'm intruding." So it almost seemed like they came to work just to continue their affair, you know. But Yeah, their relationship was quite electric, and it sounds like he got hot in there, and we ain't talking about devices. So, but she does count him as the love of her life, and it sounds like it was quite strong. And their affair was so scandalous that the Vatican City weekly newspaper deemed Elizabeth, they charged Elizabeth with erotic vagrancy because she was sleeping with Burton while still married to Fisher. I find that interesting that they charged her with that, but not Richard Burton, because wasn't he married as well? So I don't get that. And that was back in April of 1962. The Vatican City's weekly newspaper published an open letter. But yeah, you notice how they charged her? I mean, wasn't he in the relationship as well, Burton? Okay. And so, as their affair continued, even after they wrapped filming of Cleopatra, Elizabeth Taylor was ready to return to the United States because they were filming in Rome. And Richard Burton was planning to join her. But Congresswoman, what is her name? Iris F. Blitch. She had other plans, okay? And she's a congresswoman from Georgia. She was trying to prevent Elizabeth Taylor's re-entrance into the United States. So she said, "It is my hope that the Attorney General, in the name of American womanhood, will take the measures necessary to determine whether or not Ms. Taylor and Mr. Burton are ineligible for re-entry into the United States on the grounds of undesirability." Now, also, I find that interesting because at that time, so yeah, this was in the 60s, so that would have been Bobby Kennedy, who was the Attorney General. And we know what his brother, the slain president, JFK, was doing. So him denying Elizabeth Taylor re-entry, I mean, obviously, it didn't happen, but that would have been interesting if he tried, because we know what his brother is doing. But then again, we see that there's a double standard. So, yeah, I guess it wouldn't have been an issue anyway. But it's crazy. It almost seems like they were trying to stone Elizabeth Taylor, okay, for her infidelities. But, you know, can't nobody home wreck like Liz Taylor, okay? I mean, you got Whoopi Goldberg, Claire Danes, Alicia Keys, Fantasia. So many. Oh, of course, Angelina Jolie, right? But, I mean, have they ever been charged with erotic vagrancy? She is a professional at her home wrecking, okay? Not that I would call Liz Taylor a home wrecker, because I feel like the person in the home is the one wrecking the home, okay? So, yeah, Eddie Fisher and Richard Burton would be the home wreckers, right? Well, actually, yeah, if we're using that definition, then Liz would be. So, but I'm saying I wouldn't call her that by herself. There was other people doing the home wrecking, okay? But anyway, I am going to wrap this up. So like, comment, subscribe if you choose. I hope you enjoyed this video. And let me know what you think. Do you plan on reading this book? I think it's a great read. It is fascinating, and I would recommend it. I also hope that they will adapt this bio into like a mini series. I feel like there's too much to her story to do a movie, but I really didn't like the casting of Lindsay Lohan in that Lifetime movie, I think it was, about Liz and Burton. I just thought that was bad casting because she's so voluptuous, and that matters so much to who she is because she's beautiful to look at, but also she is voluptuous. And, men were lusting after her. So Lindsay, I mean, she's cute, but she is skinny, and I just don't see how she could evoke that kind of sex appeal if she doesn't have it. But anyway, what do I know, right? So now I will say the author, Kate Anderson Brower, I did pick up on her idolatry and bias because whenever she would talk about Taylor's infidelities, she would, I don't know if it was intentionally or not, but she would juxtapose her bad behavior with altruistic traits. She would talk about her philanthropic efforts and how she was friends with gay actors who were in the closet, and how she still had close relationships with those gay actors who contracted AIDS during the AIDS crisis. And she was a champion for the gay community at a time when people had abandoned them, when things got perilous. So, I mean, I'm not taking away from what she did, but still, when she was bad, okay? But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, I would recommend this. It is a fascinating read, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.